In 1998, police investigating the death of a woman named Marion Keel pulled the tape from her answering machine, the way investigators do, hoping for a threatening call, an argument, anything. What they found instead was a message from Marion herself. Her own voice, calm at first and then not, asking someone to please come, please hurry. The message was ordinary evidence, except for one thing. The answering machine stamped the time of every call. And Marion's message was recorded 6 hours after the coroner said she had already been dead. Stay with this. The machine was never wrong about the time. That was the whole problem. Marion Keel was 51, a bookkeeper, a quiet woman who lived alone in a ground-floor apartment and kept to herself. She was found on a Tuesday morning by a neighbor who noticed her newspapers piling up. The coroner examined her that afternoon and fixed her time of death, with the confidence coroners have, to sometime late Sunday night. She had been dead, they determined, for roughly a day and a half when she was found. There were no signs of a struggle. The case was labeled undetermined and would probably have stayed a quiet tragedy, except for the tape. The answering machine was one of the old kinds, a cassette in a plastic box, and it logged calls with a small digital clock that spoke the time before each message played. The investigators took it in as routine. They sat in a room and played the tape from the beginning. There were ordinary messages. A pharmacy. A wrong number. Her sister, on Sunday afternoon, chatting about nothing. And then, near the end of the tape, the machine's flat electronic voice announced the day and time of the next message. Monday. Just after 4 in the morning. And Marion Keel's voice came on. It was her. Her sister confirmed it, later, in tears. It was unmistakably Marion, the same voice from the Sunday message earlier on the same tape. But it was different. On Sunday she had been light, easy, ordinary. On this message she was quiet and strange, and she spoke slowly, as if she were very tired or very far away. She said a name, a man's name, that the investigators were never able to connect to anyone. She said, please come. She said, I don't think I can stay here much longer. And then, near the end, her voice tightened, and she said, please hurry, it's so much colder than they told me, and the message cut off. Monday. Just after 4 in the morning. Marion Keel had died, according to the coroner, late Sunday night. The message on her own machine, in her own voice, had been recorded 6 hours after her heart had stopped. The investigators did what investigators do. They doubted the machine. They tested it, set it, timed it, called it a dozen times over a week, and it stamped every single call correctly, to the minute. The clock was not fast. It was not slow. It had not been reset, the internal log showed continuous power. They doubted the coroner, and the coroner did not budge. The physical evidence of when Marion died was, he said, as certain as that kind of thing gets, and it was not close to 4 in the morning on Monday. They doubted the voice, and brought in her sister, and her sister listened to the Sunday message and the Monday message back to back and said, without any doubt at all, that both were Marion, and then asked them to please turn it off. They traced the call. Every phone call leaves a record, and this one did too. The message had come in on Marion's line at the time stamped, just after 4 on Monday morning. It had originated from Marion's own home phone. The call had come from inside her apartment. The apartment where she had been lying dead since Sunday night. The apartment that had been locked, undisturbed, with no one inside, until the neighbor found her a day later. There is no version of the events that holds together. If she was alive at 4 on Monday, the coroner was catastrophically wrong, and every physical sign of her death was a day off, which the coroner swore was impossible. If she was dead, then her voice, tired and cold and asking for help, had traveled from her own phone in her own locked apartment to her own answering machine 6 hours after she died, and had spoken a name no one could find, about a place that was colder than they told her. The case is closed the way these are closed, which is to say it is filed and unresolved and will never move again. The tape was kept. Her sister asked for a copy and then, a year later, asked the department to destroy the copy she had, because she could not stop listening to it. The original is in a box. And on it, near the end, after the pharmacy and the wrong number and an ordinary Sunday chat, a woman who was already dead calls her own home from her own home, at 4 in the morning, to say that it is so much colder than they told her, and to ask, please, for someone to hurry.